Well, good morning, everyone. It's this snowy Friday morning in south of Scotland. Um, Probably most of you would have already heard the news of this shooting in Hamburg, in Germany. I've never been to Hamburg, I've been to Germany a few times. And I watched the news this morning, and quite often when you see shootings around the world, they always say there's no motive known for by the gunman. It appears though the gunman shot 7 people dead, then shot himself dead in this Kingdom Hall, and no motive is known. And I'm sure you, like me, were, when you heard that, could think of various motives, which may be the correct one, may not be the correct one, why somebody would go into a Kingdom Hall and have a grudge against people in the Jehovah's Witnesses and take it out in acts of violence. The list goes on and on. Straight away, being shunned. I would have thought, that somebody who was being shunned who might have been a former member of the congregation, has been expelled from the congregation, holds a grudge now that he can no longer speak, or he no longer can speak to his friends or his family, feels that the life is not worth living anymore, and seeks to take out the revenge for, as they might have perceived it, as being incorrectly disfellowshipped. It could be something as simple as that, or it might have been somebody whose wife all of a sudden, becomes a Jehovah's Witness, and all of a sudden their marriage is not the way it was because the wife is so involved with all things witnessy. It could be somebody who may be expelled for being gay. The list goes on and on and on. But at the end of the day, I probably think it's going to be somebody who is an ex-witness, who is known by them, but it might not be. But I'm to be honest with you, I'm surprised this hasn't happened more times, because of the desperate situation that people find themselves in when they have been removed from the congregation and excluded and then shunned, and then they just feel as though the world that they knew has been torn apart. So yeah, I'm really surprised this hasn't happened more, especially in America, where it seems though everybody in the granny owns a gun. In Europe, and I know Germany, they have more guns, but than Britain. But I've never in my life, in my 60 years living in England and Scotland, ever seen anybody just casually walking around with a gun, or knowing that I'm going into a house that has guns in it. It just doesn't happen here. There are some people, the only people who actually may hold a gun, I mean, this is a gun, that is to just go and shoot birds, because especially around here we get people called wild fowlers who like to go out and shoot some of the geese, pink-foot geese that we get coming over, and they there are cases like that. But as for people owning, semi-automatic weapons or revolvers, it's just unheard of. So I'm a bit surprised that things like this haven't happened more in America, where owning a gun is just like nothing. There's probably more people own guns than they do, I don't know, Beatles albums. So it's I think. I'm just surprised it hasn't happened more, because of the shunning policy and how that definitely affects people. And yet the problem with this is there's a few things this brings up. A couple of things is, we know there are 8 people dead, but potentially if there's a Jehovah's Witness who's got has been shot, potentially they've got life-threatening injury, and they're going to hospital, and of course they're going to refuse blood, so the count may be more than 8 as it stands. Also, this will probably build into the persecution psychology of the witnesses, where they think, that this again proves that we are God's chosen people because of this random act of violence. This absolutely proves it. There's no doubting. If we weren't, this is an agent of Satan, and if we weren't the true religion, things like this wouldn't happen. Which of course is a lot of bollocks, because as we know, there was that terrible shooting in New Zealand where a guy just went into, he didn't like Muslims or whatever, and he came from Australia to New Zealand and went in and just was shooting people in the street and in the mosque, I believe it was. And we have, of course, the different versions blowing up each other's mosques in the Middle East on a continual basis. And we have synagogues getting desecrated as well. There was a church shooting in America not so long ago where somebody went in and killed a load of people in this church. So, it's nonsense to say that this proves that you are God's people. If a gunman goes and decides to kill or blow up members of the congregation, because this sort of thing has been going on, for a long time, killing a lot more people. But hey ho, that's no doubt the way they'll be viewing this. And again, the other thing that comes into is this other thing that it sort of blows away the myth that the Jehovah's Witnesses always think that the Kingdom Hall is going to be a place of security and safety, and that somehow that their God will not tempt them beyond what they can take. I'm sure getting shot and killed and murdered is going beyond those things, because it shows that there is no protection. Again, like I said, during the COVID, when there was like 24,000 Jehovah's Witnesses died, the same thing. Absolutely no protection for allegedly his chosen people. Yet again, their God of the witnesses stands by or sits by or snoozes by and allows his people, to be taken out by either a terrible disease or by, a random act of violence. There is no protection, and yet Jehovah's Witnesses are in this strange situation that they think that they are the one true religion, that their God protects them. Well, where's the protection there? There's no protection at all, and again, it's, I don't think it will, but Jehovah's Witnesses should be thinking to themselves, what protection does God give us? He didn't protect us in COVID, and he didn't protect us from a gunman. There is no protection. We're just like any other religion in the world, blindingly, thinking that we are the true religion, everybody else is wrong, and we're just the same as them. We are, we die like them, and if somebody wants to go into a Kingdom Hall and shoot 7 people dead, they can do that. There's no stopping them, because there isn't that. What happened to all these many stories that you get, happening in World War II, where all of a sudden that there was somehow German officers saw angels, and who was the other person in the room? We remember that one. Where's the protection from angels? Apparently what did the angel just stand back while this guy was going around shooting everybody? It's just utter bollocks, really. At the end of the day, is I don't even believe in angels, so it just shows. And if there were angels, what's the purpose? But apparently angels are really good, ensuring that some poor pioneer brother gets directed to a house whereupon there's somebody there who's just lost a husband, who goes, oh, my dead husband's coat will fit you perfectly. And of course it's angelic intervention. So it's great. Angels are really, really good at ensuring that pioneers go to the correct house at the right time to get a dead person's coat off the widow. Definitely angelic direction, to ensure that they can carry on with the pioneer work, because they were very, very cold that day. But when it comes to a gunman going into a Kingdom Hall, somehow, where was the angel that day? Where was the angel yesterday evening? Trying to ensure that the brothers and sisters weren't shot. apparently AWOL yet again. So when it comes to really stupid, silly things, apparently God is with his people when it's acquiring property or, you know, a pioneer getting a dead person's coat. But when it comes to things like stopping the witnesses dying in their thousands in COVID or being shot in the Kingdom Hall, apparently their God is nowhere to be seen. It's incredible. A little bit of news on the home front, as in my home front. Yes, just in the summer there, my son has spotted something on my leg. I've got it. I didn't do that, but anyway, it looked like that. That's on my shin, and I had that taken away. That's the healed bit, and they did a biopsy on it and found us it's something called basal cell carcinoma, or basal cell carcinoma. Anyway. It's skin cancer. It's apparently it's the good cancer. If you're gonna get cancer, this is the cancer to get apparently. So once the biopsy came back, the doctor, remember the surgeon, the doctor took it away, and he said to me, if there's nothing to worry about, I won't ring. I'll just ring up in 2 weeks and just say how was the result. But if there's a problem, I'll ring you within 2 weeks. Well, I didn't have to wait that long because a week later he phoned me and said, yes, it's come back. So I said, what happens next? He says, well, we're going to have to dig a bigger piece round it. So I went into hospital yesterday, not yesterday evening, but the evening before. And basically, I think they cut that sort of area off my leg. And then when I was in the recovery room, that's what my leg looked like, all bandaged up. And that was it. I was just told in 10 days' time to go and get the 11 stitches taken out. And I was given 2 bits of paper, one little letter to go to the doctor, and this. And I just sort of literally just looked at the bit that they'd highlighted here, which said, please make an appointment to have stitches removed in 10 days. So I just read that, okay, and I just put it away. Just quickly as I was going to the hospital, I just quickly read that. 10 days, yeah, 10 days, must remember 10 days. And sadly I should have read a little bit more, unfortunately, because what it does say is, under wound care, it says, your dressing may be removed after 40 hours, no further dressing is required thereafter, you may bath, shower as normal to keep your wound clean and dry. So, when I might have generally read that, so it says you may bath, shower as normal to keep your wound clean and dry. However, what it doesn't say is, and this is a big no-no apparently, that if you get, an operation like that, you're not supposed to get your stitches wet at all. For the first 48 hours, you're supposed to keep that dressing on, don't get it wet. Of course, I never got told that when I left hospital. It was on this bit of paper and it's not that clear. And of course, what did I do? I had the operation done at 4 o'clock and I kept all the dressing on, and I just thought, the dressing's on there just in case I bleed it a wee bit. And in the morning I went and had a shower, took off the dressing, left the bandage, the plaster on, and had a shower, and of course I got it all wet. And it was only when my wife came back at 4 and underneath the plaster it looked a little bit like this. It looked like that under the plaster there, and I just thought, well, it's not surprising, but I just thought, look, a bit of blood there, and I should really get my wife to change it. But of course, because it's down on my shin, I couldn't reach down. So when she took off the plaster to put on a new plaster, I was, well, a little shocked when I saw this. Turn away if you're squeamish. Yes, so if you look carefully there, the stitches don't look like they've brought the skin together completely, and I've got a little feeling that potentially, I rung up my cousin who trains nurses, and he said to me, I sent him the picture, and he said, yeah, it's a little bit more open than I'd expect it to be, and it's probably, he says, what you shouldn't have done is got your stitches wet, so they may have pulled apart a wee bit. And so he said, if you go back to it, because I contacted a doctor as well and sent him a picture, and he says, oh, I'd go back to A&E, and you know, my friend said, my cousin said, don't go back to E&E because there'll be very little they can do with it now. And I didn't want to go through the pain. Literally, it was painful getting the anaesthetic put, you know, before they started cutting in. The anaesthetic, actually injections you get, the local anaesthetic, was really bloody sore. And even when they were putting in the stitches, I could feel, you know, some pain as well. And I just thought, oh no. So my little heart sunk yesterday when the doctor said, I think you should go back. But my cousin said that there's very little they're going to do with that. They will not touch it. So basically, a new plaster went on and the dressing's gone on, and now I'm going to actually not do as I was supposed to do and not get it wet for 48 hours. And in 48 hours time I will take it all off. This means obviously, you know, how can you have a shower without getting your leg wet? So I'm going to be a bit smelly for 2 days anyway. And so that's it for 48 hours. I'm not going to be having a shower just in case that gets wet. And then see what it looks like when I take off a plaster in 2 days time. And I've had to cancel going to see, I was supposed to go to Old Trafford on Sunday, but I'm not going to do that now, just in case it gets knocked, for instance. And I was supposed to go and see a band called Suede in Glasgow on Tuesday, and I'm not going to do that as well, just in case again somebody bangs into my knee, well, it's not my knee, it's my shin. And I am the world's worst patient. I just don't like doing nothing, so I'm not one of these guys who just sits up and do nothing. I'm a terrible patient that way. And so my wife was supposed to be going up to Glasgow this weekend. She's decided to stay here and look after me, and you know, don't get up, I'll get that, what do you need, that sort of stuff. So she's going to try and make sure that I don't overdo it, like taking the dog for a walk or whatever, you know, because unfortunately we've got lots of stairs where I live. But anyway, that's the news on my front. So hopefully next time I'm back here I can actually show a picture of my leg on the way to recovery. I know I'm going to have probably a big scar, no doubt, but as long as that means I don't have to go into hospital again and get it re-stitched. And of course I've got to wait for the biopsy to come back to show that they took away the cancerous bit, and now they've got onto the nice skin bit, and there's nothing to worry about. So, or otherwise they'd have to go back, they'd have to take off even more. And where the shin is, as you know, there's not an awful lot of skin to play with, to be honest with you. Anyway, that's my news on top of world news. So anyway, so I'm going to take it easy for the next 2 days at least, and hopefully in 2 days time when I take off that bandage and plaster, hopefully it doesn't look like that, because that looks awful. Anyway, sorry if you're eating your breakfast or your lunch and all of a sudden that came on, but anyway, I'll see you again. Bye bye.